Sounds good to me, I said. We could be Lewis and Clark, and I'll be Sacagawea, Lobi said. Who's that? I asked. Lobi's eyes flashed in annoyance. If you knew who Lois and Clark were, then you should know her too. Sacagawea was a Native American woman who helped Lewis and Clark in their expedition. She knew about the wilderness and animals and plants. In fact, they probably wouldn't have made it without her. Okay then, I said. You're Sacagawea. Lovi smiled. Please, high tide's coming in. Let's go. She pushed off the dock with the tip of her paddle. I scrambled to do the same, rocking my kayak. I'm off too, Macon said, and took off running. Lovi was a good teacher. She was patient as she showed me how to power forward and backward with my paddle. It had a blade on each end, shaped like a bird feather. I took one stroke, then another, and another. Soon enough, I caught the rhythm and was gliding alongside Lovi. It wasn't as wobbly in the kayak as I thought it would be. It was just the two of us. Lovi and I stayed in the narrow creeks close to shore, so I wasn't worried about falling into the water. Out of the water, the island world appeared so different. The gooey mud lined the creek banks, and all over them, I could see tiny crabs. They all had one larger claw that they lifted into the air. When they climbed out of the mud, they made soft popping noises that I could hear up close. But when my shadow approached, they scurried away, ducking into their muddy holes. What are those crabs in the mud with the one hook-like claw? I called out to Lovi. Lovi giggled. The sound of her high laugh made me smile. Fiddler crabs. She pulled back from her kayak. There are a gazillion of them in the fluff mud. What's fluff mud? You're kidding. You don't know what fluff mud is? Why do you think I asked? It's that gooey mud all around you. I crinkled my nose. It stings. She laughed again. You will get used to it. My mama calls it the low country perfume. The sun was bright overhead and sparkled on the water as we made our way along the creek. I did feel like an explorer. There was something to discover at each turn. When our kayaks took the next bend into the creek, a lone white egret burst into the sky with its black legs dangling behind. Small silver fish jumped out of the water ahead of us. A big fish with one black spot on its tail skimming right next to my kayak. So close I couldn't have caught it with my bare hands. I ran my fingers across the top of the cool, smooth water, but I kept my eyes peeled for signs of alligators, sharks too. Macon whistled at us from the shore, with two fingers in the mouth kind of way, which made it extra loud. I raised my paddle up in the air to signal back. Hey, Lewis, I called out. Hey, Clark. He waved and then dashed into the shadows of the towering trees. I can't wait to draw all of these things in my journal, I called out. Logan stopped paddling to get close to me so we wouldn't have to shout. We floated slowly down the kayak, down the creek, the dark water lapping the edges of our kayaks. You're becoming a real naturalist, Jake, she said. Complete with a journal. I started mine. I'm enjoying writing about my day like it's a diary. I'm not so good at writing about my day, I confess. I mostly draw pictures, but I started writing to my dad instead. Letters most every day. I could tell him everything. What I saw and how I'm feeling. It's like when I'm writing to him, I feel like he's with me. I shook my head, feeling a little embarrassed. Sounds weird, I guess. No, it doesn't, she said to me. I looked over to see if she was serious. Her eyes were soft with concern. It makes sense, she smiled, kind of shyly, at least to me. Before I knew it, I was spilling the deeds about my worries about my dad and his lost leg. Beneath the warm sun, sucked into the watery maze, it felt like a power of the tide pulled it all right out of me. Lobi grew tired. Lobi grew very quiet. I suddenly realized I'd been doing all the talking. Sorry, I said awkwardly. I'm talking a lot. I'm boring you. No, Lobi answered quickly. She shook her head. It's just... She looked away. Just what? While I was listening to you talk about your dad and mailing letters to him, I was thinking about my own father and thought, well, maybe I should write a letter to him. But doesn't he, live with you? She stopped paddling. I stopped too, and the world felt quiet. Our kayaks floated on the surface of the water, side by side. I'm going to tell you something, and you have to promise to keep it secret. Okay, I promise. My daddy, Ethan, she paused. He's not my actual dad. I didn't seem like such a big secret. Are your parents divorced? She shook her head. No. They were never married. Ethan is my only father I've ever known. He's my real dad. But my biological father, Daryl, she looked away and then blurted out, he's in prison. My mouth slipped open. Prison? I had never known anyone who went to prison.